Thank you for downloading episode 349 of the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. This week, we have some updates on last week's stories. Person of the Year, Loyalty Pays Off, Pro-Life Redemption, No Food for You, Buzzing the Tower, and Too Much Choice. I'm Dave Roberts. With me is my partner in this endeavor, Commissioner-elect, which you can only stay for a couple more weeks, Ken Poland.
I know. I guess I get sworn in next week sometime. Start serving in January. Oh, yeah. Sweetness.
Yeah, we have a retirement for our outgoing sheriff and outgoing chief deputy, and then the next day we had the swearing-in ceremony for the new sheriff. I mean, obviously everything happens January 1st, but the swearing-in will happen before that. That all happens as we record this week.
Yep.
And we're actually recording on Friday, which is our normal recording day. I didn't realize what weekend I was volunteering for a fundraiser for Shepherd's Rest. And I volunteered to take the afternoon of the Army-Navy game. So I'm going to attempt to DVR it. Yes, I'm old. I still have a DVR. And stay off Facebook and hope nobody tells me what happened.
I don't think I've actually watched that game in years. I didn't know people watched the Army-Navy game.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, it's the only college football game on. That's actual competitive game. I think there's, the Division 2 or 3, whatever. They start they're playing, but as far as major college football, it's the only game that happens on that weekend. It's the weekend after all the championship games are done. You have Army-Navy game, and then you go to the bowl games. And Army's actually ranked this year. We'll see. Obviously, by the time anybody's listening to this, it will be over, and maybe my prediction is wrong. But I think it's 31-20, something like that. I think we'll pretty handily beat Navy, just because Navy's just not that good this year, and Army's had a pretty decent year. And we also got the news. Speaking of college football, that Bill Belichick is going to UNC Chapel Hill.
I saw that for 5 years for $10 million a year, I think is what I saw the contract. And they said his girlfriend was really excited because she's, 24, so she gets to go back to college town?
Babylon Bee put a story out that Bill Belichick will agree to coach at North Carolina if he and his girlfriend could stay in the same dorm.
That's pretty funny.
He's 72.
His son coaches there, right? Isn't that the deal?
What's that?
I think his son coaches there.
Yeah, ours, I can't remember, but he wants his son to be heir apparent. He's 72 years old. He's been in the NFL forever. He hasn't recruited in God knows how long. He has no idea how to handle the transfer portal. I think he's going to have a tough time dealing with kids. He's been dealing with grown men for so long.
Yeah, I would think that's more of the probably bigger deal than recruiting. Now that you can pay players, I think it's more like a mini NFL. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, but in the NFL,
the head coach has guys that recruit for him.
If you're on a 5-year contract, you don't get to go after the first year and go, you know what, I really don't like this coach. I don't like the program, so I'm going to transfer from the Hawks to, or not the Hawks, but the Falcons to, I don't know, the Bengals. I want to go, no, you can't do that. You have to play your contract out. Now, the people, they can do holdouts or they can demand to be traded. I think Eli Manning did that when he was drafted by some putrid team and ended up being traded before he ever putting a helmet on in practice. Got traded to New York. I think that was Archie that had a hand in that. But when he was drafted, he held the jersey up and all that stuff. But he told him there's no way I'm going to play for you. But that's neither here nor there. It's just interesting that Belichick's back in college football. And I didn't realize until that joke came out that Belichick he's been dating this girl for 2 years, between she was 22 and he was 70 when they met.
Jeez, that's crazy.
What's the conversation you have there?
I don't know. I mean, there's some mature young girls. I mean, it is what it is. She likes his money. He likes her youngness and looks.
I mean, she likes his money. He likes her. I mean, look, this story is old as time. And when the idea of a veterans pension actually came out in the late 1800s, early 1900s for veterans of the Civil War, there were 70-year-old men marrying 14-year-olds. And this is obviously back before Viagra, so there's not much they could do about it. But the way the law was written is the surviving spouse would continue those benefits for the rest of her life. So if you were a parent, yeah, you'd marry your 14-year-old off, 15-year-old off to this old man, knowing he's not going to be around for a couple of years, and then she'll have the rest of her life with a government pension. I don't know how if they end up getting married, how they structure the prenup.
They'll never get married
because he's got kids that probably deserve more of that money. He's got kids older than she is.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, his son that's going to be coaching there is obviously older.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, Belichick's old enough to be my father. I mean, I'm 47. He's 72.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know why he'd want to come back to college.
Two old guys being jealous of a really old guy. Like, good for him and his millions of dollars and 20-year-old girlfriend. Good for you. And your six. And yep. I'm more jealous of his 6 Super Bowl rings than I am the money and the girl, to be honest with you. So we have a quick update from last week's show. Daniel Penny was acquitted, and this has made its news around everywhere. But when we recorded, like 5 minutes after we record, stories tend to drop. But it was I think we recorded late last week, but the next morning, Daniel Penny was acquitted 100%, and it has been ugly for this poor guy.
It has, but he's been all over since he got acquitted. He got acquitted. I saw him on Fox News this week. Speaking of the football game this weekend, he's going to be President Trump's guest at the Army-Navy game. I saw that earlier today. So
yeah, and that's great. And you know what? I don't know where Penny's going to stand. I assume he's going to be on the Navy side, being a Marine. But yeah, that's good. That's good as being recognized. Look, this guy's father, the dead guy's father, Jordan Neely. His father left his mama and him when he was a young child. His mother was brutally murdered by an abusive boyfriend, like put in a suitcase and left on the side of the road. Neely had to go and testify at the trial. Father was nowhere to be seen. He went into the system. Father didn't enter. Ended up homeless, mental illness, drug addicted. Father nowhere to be seen. Jordan Neely ends up doing something stupid. He effed around and found out. All of a sudden, he's everywhere and wanting to file a suit.
No, it's so ridiculous. His dad had no part in his upbringing, and now he's trying to file a lawsuit against it.
He's not a dad; he's a sperm donor.
Yeah, it's really bad.
That's mental. It's mental illness. And look, Penny never intended to kill the guy. The dude was high, mentally ill, and the only time he was even halfway personable was when he was doing impersonations of Michael Jackson. Apparently, he was very talented, but he had demons, and growing up like that, there's no excuse for his behavior. But I'm saying you kind of understand the mental illness having grown up like that.
Yep.
Speaking of Trump, he is Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Yeah, I think this is his second time, but this was
second time he's
I
been
forget when the first time. Was it the first time he was? But was he President of the Year or Person of the Year the first time he was elected? I got you. So he made it again this time. Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean, he is the Person of the Year. And I don't know if you saw the image that he put out online. He said how it started, and he had his mugshot, and then right beside it, it was like, and how it's going. And he had his picture being Time's Person of the Year.
Look, he's a fantastic troll. He really is. He's a fantastic troll. He understands Twitter, X, whatever, better than anybody else. I mean, he knows how to use those 140 characters better than anybody else.
Oh, the trolling is amazing that he does. And also he builds these memes and then tweets out the memes. So that's pretty smart on his part.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. I know he's the man of the year. This is like a Christmas decoration question. At what point do you take the Trump flags down? Is it January 21st?
I don't think people will ever take the Trump flags down. I'm not a big... I mean, you mean just the Trump flag, or is that the flags you're referring to?
The MAGA flags. I don't see as many on pickup trucks anymore, but you still see them driving around. Look, I'm not saying not.
I don't care. To each his own. I mean, I don't think they're coming down.
I don't want a law saying you have to take your Christmas lights down the first of the year, but at a certain point, when it's March and you still got your Christmas lights up, you're like, it's kind of tacky. I'm not saying
Yep.
that anybody should go and take them down. I'm saying Trump himself is saying, I want to unify. We're going to bring everything together. We're unifying the country. At some point, you go ahead and take the campaign stuff down. Put it up in your man cave somewhere and celebrate it that you were part of one of the greatest comeback in modern political history.
I mean, the MAGA crowd is totally different than any other, crowd that supported presidential candidates. It's we're in a brave new world at this point. There's Democrats, Republicans, and MAGA, right?
They'll be calling for a constitutional convention to allow Trump to have a third term or something like that.
I don't think it goes that far, but it's pretty funny.
No, it would never go that far. But there will be pundits out there. It's like, maybe it's time we revisit the FDR rule.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely start talking about it.
Because by that time, Trump.
You did see where Amazon donated $1 million to along with Meta also. So I guess that may be typical or commonplace for these companies to donate to the inauguration fund. But
they wetted their finger and stuck it in the air and go, ooh. 60%.
I mean, they need help, right?
Of the people out there are happy with what happened. Maybe we should get behind them.
Well, they also know they pushed. I mean, Meta blocked content from conservatives and Republicans throughout the years, and Amazon with Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. So I think they're all saying that we did a lot of stuff that we could potentially get in trouble for. So we need to start donating it. And look, Trump's you know how Trump is. You write him a check for $1 million, and you're probably his best friend at that point.
I've always liked him.
Yeah,
Very
he's wonderful
guy.
Yeah.
He had some mistakes. We worked them out. Yeah. He's a great guy. The minute you step outside of MAGA, he's the worst person I've ever met. I never liked the guy. I never trusted him. I took his money because I'm smart. I took his money, but no, he's an idiot. That's the carrot and the stick that is Trump. It is amusing to see, and you kind of the people that I've heard from that have actually been in a room with him say he really is a warm person. He's not the she's a pig person. He's not that person. That's a caricature of who he is. Just like this show is a I've heard it referred to as an exaggeration of my personality. I'm not that bombastic in real life. I am snarky in real life. Call back to last week. Speaking of last week, the shooter of the United Healthcare CEO was caught under the Golden Arches.
Yes. How did that happen? Did somebody recognize his photo?
Yes.
Is what happened? And one of the ladies inside?
Okay, there's a couple things that happened that week. One is police out in California, I can't remember, I think it was San Francisco, recognized him because he had gone missing for several months. This is Luigi Maggione. He went missing. And he comes from a very wealthy family. Went to an Ivy League school, University of Penn, UPenn, which is an Ivy League. Got a master's degree in some sort of computer or something. I don't remember exactly what his master's is in. Very, very smart guy from a wealthy family. Moved out to Hawaii. This is a guy who has freedom of movement. Can do whatever the hell he wants. Has all the money in the world that he wants. Was working from home out in Hawaii. Then he'd been surfing and stuff and hiking, and I guess slipped a disc or something and had some back surgery that didn't go well, and he disappeared for months. They've tracked him around the world, and that he kind of traveled the world, and then something snapped after his back surgery. That we assume this is not confirmed. This is all based on his social media. When he put a picture, he put a X-ray up on his social media page that shows the screws and the vertebrae and all that stuff. The memes, however, have been great. Burger King, we don't snitch.
Oh God, I hadn't seen that one.
They're saying that he may have tried psychedelics, stuff to get over the pain, and that may have warped him. I don't know what his problem with health insurance would be. He has comparison to you and me, he has all the money in the world.
Yeah, and it said he wasn't even, I don't even think he was a client of United Healthcare, so I didn't think that's where his policy was.
Ted Kaczynski's brother said he was afraid that Ted's writings may have inspired him, which is a horrible guilt to have. And last thing you want to be known as is Unabomber's brother.
Yep.
Some of the left stuff on this has been disgusting, calling him a hero, and then women getting gaga over him because he had a 6-pack in some of his pictures.
Yeah, I saw that. And then there's been some more. I don't know if you saw the lady this week that got arrested. A Florida woman got arrested for threatening a Blue Cross Blue Shield agent during a phone call. But good for the cops down there. They went. I mean, she threatened this lady, and they went and arrested her. And I saw her crying in jail. I guess she doesn't. She was charged with threats to conduct a mass shooting, act of terrorism, and she was recorded saying, "Delay, deny, dispose. You people are next." So she actually did this after the United Healthcare CEO was killed. I mean, yeah. I mean, what was this? FAFO? I mean, this is. Yep. I mean, that's 100% what she did, and she needs to go to jail for this. Too bad. She thought she was going to get away with it, and now she's in jail. But I mean, I've still, even 2 or 3 weeks after this, been totally disappointed that people are justifying this guy and the killing of this CEO, but yet they want Daniel Penny to be thrown in jail. I mean, it's just it's idiocracy. I mean, it's just hard to explain how you can be on both sides, on those two sides.
Yeah, and we were wrong about the gun. Right after we recorded, it came out that it was not the veterinary gun. It was a grainy photo, but it was the lower was a 3D printed Glock, apparently.
Really?
And the upper are parts that you can order online and put together. So,
jeez. So he put it together. I wonder if that had to do with the misfire or whatever. Well, you could kind of see screwing around with the gun.
A booster on the silencer. That's the that it doesn't have enough back pressure to work the slide. So on a pistol, you have to have a booster before you put the silencer on to give enough back pressure to keep working that slide. Especially in a Glock. Glocks have a fairly stiff slide and fairly stiff trigger. But yeah, once you make the lower in a Glock's just polymer. It doesn't carry a whole heck of a lot of stress. But that's the only serialized part. So but no one is going after the gun. Nobody's going after the gun charges. No, the left is eerily silent on this because they killed somebody that they dislike. They dislike the idea of having private insurance. And I'll remind everybody, the reason we have private insurance that's supplied often by employers goes back to FDR when he put in wage fixing. So when different companies like Ford and GM were competing with each other, they couldn't compete to get better employees with salary. They were capped. So they'd compete with vacation time, medical benefits, retirement. That's where all that comes from. Comes from the government shutting down the best avenue in order to attract somebody. Because up until that point, you went to the doctor and paid the doctor. And without insurance companies, and honestly without a whole lot of tort, it was fairly affordable. Even when I was uninsured, when I first left banking and was working for my brother in a small business, I went to the doctor and it was like $80 or something like that when I'd go to the doctor. And he'd look at my file and go, "Oh, you don't have insurance." "No, sir." He goes, "Hold on." And he would go to the samples closet and get medication that I may need, or he would change the prescription and go, "Oh, you need an antibiotic. Publix has this one for $1 right now. So here, take this one to Publix, and it's only $1." And the guy really looked out for me. When Obamacare hit, he went into concierge practice. He was not going to deal with insurance companies. So I get the anger at insurance companies. I've been angry at insurance companies before after my wife's back surgery. I didn't go to the point where I want to stalk somebody and shoot them in the back.
I know, kill them for that.
No, I may call them names, but I didn't even do that. I got kind of pointed with them. It was a short-term care or short-term disability insurance, and they didn't approve it for one pay period, and I was like, when did you graduate medical school? Because the doctor's saying this. Well, I didn't, and that's kind of when I lost my stuff with him. But again, I didn't threaten him. I didn't go track him down. We just handled what we needed to handle and did what we needed to do. But this guy is off his rocker. Now, that doesn't mean he's not responsible for his actions. I'm not saying he deserves to get off because he's nuts. I'm just saying he should never walk free at the streets again.
Yep.
If he thinks his back hurts now, wait till he sleeps on a prison cot for a little while.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. If he makes it.
All right, another week, another loyalty appointment. President Trump appointed Carrie Lake. She was a local news anchor and two-time loser in a statewide race.
Loser. And when the state went Republican, she lost as the Republican candidate, sort of like Herschel Walker did in Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, she's...
So she takes after Herschel.
She's a horrible candidate.
Yeah, she was really bad. So what is she taking over? What is this Voice of America? I didn't know that was a fairly funded organization. What is this?
It's Air America, essentially, is what it used to be called before the whole Air America thing happened. And what it does is it broadcasts pro-American messages to the rest of the Americas.
Okay. Like you talking about Latin America, South America? Okay. Well, that definitely helps with illegals trying to come here.
Well, yeah. But it's not. But whatever our message is, it's a form of psychological operation.
Yes, that's what it sounds like. I can't. Why are we wasting taxpayer money on this?
I don't know, because no one.
Maybe Doge will get rid of this.
I don't know. Trump just appointed one of his friends the head of it. I don't know what her qualifications. I don't know what qualifications you need to run this damn thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Now, the other one I thought, Carrie Lake, it's hard to spend much time on her, but Kimberly Guilfoyle, or how do you say her last name? Guilfoyle got appointed to ambassador to Greece, I saw. And it sounds like her and Donald Trump Jr. have broken up now. I know they had a hot relationship for a while. But they're on the outs, because I saw he was with another Southern Florida socialite out in the neighborhood last week.
And Kimberly's a good-looking girl. And Kimberly, I love Greece. So if you're looking for a travel companion... look, her loyalty's been rewarded. Obviously, Donald Trump Sr. is not holding that against her or anything else. Or maybe he's like...
No, not at all.
Threw her to the other side of the world just to get rid of her. I don't know.
That's what it sounds like. It does sound like that, but there could be, I'm not sure there's any worse places to be. Any better places. In Greece, can you imagine being in an embassy over there? That's pretty cool.
Athens has great food. You're
clean eating.
You're a 45-minute flight from most of the islands. And Santorini is
just sounds amazing.
Drop dead gorgeous. Just awesome.
Yep. It really does sound amazing. That's got to be a great appointment.
Like after 4 years, like, okay, it's time to come home. Like, no, please no.
The thing is, if I was an appointee, I would want to go immediately. But I don't know, even with past presidents, I think I was watching one of Biden's appointments last time. It took, 18 months or something for the appointee to get confirmed to go to the embassy. Sometimes it takes a long time for these to go, and with the term only being 4 years, it's
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to get going.
I don't know if he'll do recess appointments because Donald Trump's not afraid to do a recess appointment. He'll do it in a heartbeat and make her the acting ambassador. Look, I don't think there's any reason not. Greece is a friendly country. It'd be one thing if you talk about ambassador to Iran, or obviously the job that Mike Huckabee got with Israel is a big job. Go to a friendly European country.
Yeah, you would figure this would get there pretty quick.
Hell, appoint me ambassador to England. Be just fine.
And I don't know if you saw this. Speaking of Trump appointees, did you see the story that was going to come out with Pete Hegseth? I know we don't have this on the outline, but one of the news agencies contacted West Point. He didn't go to West Point, but he got accepted to West Point. So they called West Point. They asked him if Hegseth had ever been there or got accepted. And this person at West Point said no, like twice. Well, they were about to publish his story, and they called Pete's, people, and he actually sent them the documentation from where he was accepted to West Point. But they were about to run this whole campaign against him, this negative hit piece against him. And then now there's an investigation on West Point as to why did they not tell the truth right away with his appointment?
Not smart.
No, somebody's going to be in a lot of trouble at West Point for doing that. I don't know if they did it intentionally or not, but I forget who was talking about. Like, there's a whole process for going through, to get accepted, to get a West Point.
You get an appointment first.
Yeah, so obviously they knew of who gets appointed every year. Even if you end up not going or not, they still knew that he was going. And then, look, if you were at West Point, wouldn't you take your time and make sure you were given the right answer versus just a no, he was never appointed to West Point? So hopefully they get to the bottom of that and see what's going on up there. Because that could have turned into another hit piece on him, which is what they were trying to do.
On a much, much smaller scale, we had a county commissioner out here by the name of Tony Crow, and Tony is now passed. But during one of his races, maybe in the first race he ran, they accused him of never being in the Navy, of stolen valor. So a reporter shows up in his front door. He goes, "Hold on." Goes and pulls his DD-214, hands it to him, goes, "Here." And they go, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Are you gonna run a story saying that was not true?" He goes, "No, it's not news now." And they left.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's if it bleeds, it leads. So if there's some controversy, but when you flip it around, it's like, no, here's my DD-214. Here shows all my awards everywhere I've been. And they go, "Oh, okay, never mind. Have a good day."
Yep.
I don't mind the loyalty appointments when it's minor stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it too. I mean, who wouldn't do it? Once you get to a certain level in life, you bring your people with you.
Yeah, you hand them.
I'd like for some of them to be a little bit more qualified than Carrie Lake is, but I don't think this is a huge job she's going into.
A broadcast professional, so it's mostly broadcasting. Yep. You know what? It's a way of saying thank you, giving her a pat on the back, and 4 years. Hopefully, we'll never hear from her again.
Yeah.
Look, I bet on this show, unless something comes, I don't think there's a confirmation for it. I mean, she'll just walk into that role. But she's not going to be in charge of the programming and all that stuff. She's going to be in charge of the administration part of it. So I don't know. I hopefully we just never hear from her again. She's a nice enough lady, but she's not likable. She's just not. She's just not likable. She ran 2 statewide races with Trump's backing and lost both of them. How do you do that? How do you accomplish that?
That's not easy.
So, Congress to investigate DOJ over targeting pro-life people.
Yeah, good for Congress actually doing something beneficial. But, it looks like they're going to pull DOJ in front of them. We've talked about it before, but Paul Vaughn was a pro-life father of 11 who was arrested at his home on October 22nd by armed authorities. And he'd just been participating in a peaceful protest at an abortion clinic in Tennessee. They charged him with conspiracy against rights secured by the FACE Act and committing FACE Act violations. I mean, this is not the only time that Department of Justice has gone after people at pro-life or that have been protesting.
That's out.
Yeah, it is most egregious, right? Yeah, I mean, they went in and arrested him in front of his family. And I think he ended up getting off of this. But yeah, this is crazy. I mean, this just shows again that the DOJ is weaponized against things that they don't like, and they don't like people protesting at abortion clinics.
Westboro Baptist Church can protest at every soldier's funeral.
Yeah,
and call them names and call the families' names. So much though that a group called themselves the Patriot Riders were formed just to get between the protesters and the funeral processions.
Yep. Yeah, good for them.
That's no problem. The DOJ has no problem with that. But protesting outside an abortion clinic, within not blocking, the FACE Act is about blocking access.
Yes, right. And these people were not blocking access. They were just trying to talk to these young women when they came up to the abortion clinic. But they were doing it in a very nice way. They weren't being rude at all. They weren't being confrontational at all.
Handbill,
nothing wrong with what they were doing.
A handbill or pamphlet that says you have other options. is not a criminal act. Getting
Right.
chaining yourself to the front of the door or chaining the door closed, that's a criminal act.
Yep.
So yeah, then they need to go. And look, Congress needs to go after the DOJ and a lot of stuff. Going after parents who protested the bathroom situation in schools. I mean, there's a lot that Congress can go after. And look, I hope Kash Patel gets confirmed because Kash is super, like I said last week, super smart, and he will put the smack down on this stuff if he can. And what I hear is happening over the DOJ is a lot of the bureaucrats are being promoted ahead of the changeover to embed them and protect them.
Oh goodness!
So I don't know how much of that's true, but that's the rumor that's flying right now. Is that the outgoing director is starting to promote people, which will put them in leadership roles to then influence junior folks coming into those departments. It makes them that much harder to fire once they get to a certain level. But yeah, the Congress going after the DOJ and actually starting to hold people accountable is a good thing. No more of this the Secret Service thing from last week. The how dare you quote 9/11 to me? Like he didn't just the vitriol that is in these bureaucrats versus the people that the folks that we the people elect is amazing.
Yep. I know it is.
Speaking of hating who we elect, no food for DC Republicans. This is stupid.
Well, this is the dumbest thing ever. But it sounds like there's some restaurants in DC that say they are not going to, or they're going to refuse service and cause other inconveniences for members of the incoming Trump administration. So what's interesting now is these food workers, and I guess in restaurants, believe in freedom of association, which I thought they actually were against for people associating with who they want to. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for this. If you own a restaurant and you don't want to serve a Republican, then don't serve a Republican or a Democrat or whoever. But it's just funny how the shoe's on the other foot now. I think is what I find so hypocritical about this.
It's stupid because it's not true. They're lying.
Right.
Look, what's the average? If you don't drink, but you go out for a nice meal in DC within the district, $150 a plate, somewhere around there.
Probably so.
That's just the tip on that alone is $30. $30, just the tip. Never mind. It's $30 on that plus their salary, plus what the restaurant makes. You're gonna tell me that if you have, let's say, 10 who you know are Republicans come in that day with an average ticket, let's just say $100, just to make the math easy. 10, $20 a piece. That's $200 on top of every other table you wait on. You're going to give that up just because they're Republicans? No, you're not. You're not working as a waiter because you're independently wealthy and you just need the exercise walking back and forth the damn kitchen. You can use that $200.
Yep.
You're talking about a place that just if you drove to work, parking every month would be more than $200.
Yep.
Actually, most of those workers probably take the metro, but it's first of all, it's disingenuous. I don't care if someone has a Biden sign up or a Harris sign up if I go to their house. You know what I do? I work on their air conditioner because that's what I do for a living.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why anybody would not do that at a restaurant. I mean, it's not like they're in there walking around talking about they're just having dinner. So yeah, it's amazing. And it's not going to happen, right? They're just trying to virtue signal
That's exactly what it is.
Certain groups of people.
Now,
that's
look,
all it is.
If I were a high profile member of the Trump administration, I would be worried about eating out, not to be refused service, but maybe not get, I prefer my steak without spit on it.
Yep.
But honestly, if you have to, if you're in the service industry in DC, you kind of insulate yourself against politics. You serve everybody. There's a place called Rendezvous Barbecue in Memphis. Fantastic barbecue. But they have pictures with several different presidents that they've either delivered food for or served food when they were, campaigning in Memphis. And it's George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. They didn't care. They didn't care about the politics.
No, you shouldn't care.
First of all, the barbecue there is extremely expensive. I think three of us spent $300 on barbecue. Of course, we
Jeez,
got
that is
the Noah
expensive.
platter, which was 2 of every animal. That's not what it's called, but that's my brother ordered. So we had enough food to feed the entire restaurant in front of us. Sausage,
Nice.
brisket, pork, smoked chicken. I mean, every animal they could possibly kill was on that table. But it's fantastic barbecue. It's called Rendezvous, but that's a good example. It's a when you think of barbecue, you don't think of expensive, but it's a high end barbecue joint. But all the different politicians, if they don't refuse service because you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. No, you're green.
No, nobody does
I was
that.
at a guy's house not long ago. He had a mural to Obama right next to the thermostat that I was working on. I don't care. What possible difference does it make to me if you're a fan of the Obamas? It doesn't matter to me. I'm there to replace your air conditioner. That's what I do for a living. I mean, so that's what these. You may have one waiter go, I'm not going to take that table. It's what's going to, no problem, I will. And the fact is,
yeah, I'll take that $200 tip.
Republicans
or whatever the tip is.
Conservatives tend to tip better. That's just a fact.
Oh, yeah, that's not even up for debate.
Just ask any person in the service industry if conservatives or liberals are more likely to leave a better than 20% tip. Because I'm a 25 to 30% guy. If I get bad service, it's still 20% because I'm there. I'm there. I'm there getting served food. I'm still going to tip on it, even if it's not my favorite service. So that's just stupid.
It is, but to go back to my point, you ought to be able to serve who you want to serve. So it's just the hypocrisy of this is what's hilarious to me.
As a business owner, it's my right. As my employee,
it's the baking a cake thing. I should be able to bake a cake for whoever I want to bake a cake for.
As my employee, you do not have the authority to decide.
No, you don't. Not at all.
Whom you're going to give good service and whom you're not. Because if I get a complaint because
not at all.
You don't like dirty hippies and you treat them like crap, I'm going to fire your butt, or at least counsel you before I fire you. So you treat everybody with respect. You treat everybody well. Everybody's here to have a good meal, and anybody who has the money to pay for it can come in. I don't care what they look like. They can come in. So that's it. It's like you hit the nail on the head with the virtue signaling. It's just not true.
Yep.
All right. So what the drone is going on?
Who knows? What is this? I mean, these drones, it seems like they started in New Jersey, right? And I don't know if you saw the congressman last week from New Jersey, but he said that Iran has a mothership off the coast, and these are Iranian drones supplied by China. I don't know if that's the case, but it's just, I mean, it's hard to believe we don't know who is putting drones up in the air. And these things are not small either. These are not like your little drone you're flying in the outside or in your backyard. I mean, it sounds like some of these drones are really large. My first thought,
because obviously you get Zapruder film level quality on this. It's grainy. And the first videos I saw, I'm like, this is a prank. This has got to be a prank. And Eric, our editor, who is a drone pilot, he's a licensed drone pilot, I said, because I don't think these aren't hobbyist drones, and sure enough, they're talking about things being the size of an SUV. I don't know how the hell they know that, because distance really throws you off. All right, give you an example. You ever watched the moon rise on a dark evening? You see how big the moon is, and then if you go out later, the moon looks smaller. That's not because the moon got any bigger or smaller, or we got closer or further. It's because against the Earth, you can see, because you have contrast, you can see how big the moon is. Against a big black sky, it looks smaller because there's so much space around it. It's an optical optical delusion. It's the same. If you were to put your thumb up to it when it's against the horizon, put your thumb up to it in the sky, it'd be the exact same size. So when people are saying it's the size of an SUV, how do you know that? How do you know from 500 feet away if it's the size of an SUV? It's the same idea of forced perspective. If anybody's ever been fishing, the trick is to hold your fish away from your body towards the camera to make it look bigger. It's called forced perspective. Mm-hmm. Anytime you see a picture going on Facebook of this 30-foot anaconda they caught in at the Everglades or something, no, it's forced perspective. You'll see that the people that are holding the dead snake are further back, and the snake looks so much bigger, shot that way. And that's how guys do their nude pics to their girlfriends, is forced perspective.
I was wondering if you were going there.
Don't I always?
I figured you were. Yeah, I figured you were going there.
Get in the gutter. That's where I'm going. But so I don't know where to get this. Something the size of a Suburban in the air.
That's not a consumer. That's not something you go buy at the Radio Shack.
A radar signature. Now, do we have radar sensitive enough to pick up a residential drone at 300 feet? Maybe. Probably in certain areas, but civilian radar, probably not. But something the size of a truck, the radar on my boat can pick that up.
Yeah.
Of course, and it can't pick up the radar on the boat can actually pick up birds if I put it on bird scan. So yeah, the radar can pick up very small objects. You start talking about seagulls and things like that. We look for birds because the birds tell you where the fish are. So we have the radar. So where's the radar signature on these things? Because the radar can tell us if they actually are able to go side to side, or if it's an airplane. They say, well, it seems to hover. Well, if you've ever been near the airport and you watch an airplane coming in to land, it looks like they're standing still in the air. Because as long as there's air going over the wings, they have lift. It looks like they're standing still in the air. So what people are doing with their cell phone cameras, I don't know. But also, the federal government, is not doing any favors by not coming out and saying, yes, we know what this is. Don't worry about it. All they're saying is, nope, it's not an adversary. We don't know what it is. How do you not know?
Yeah, they know what these things are. There's no way they don't.
They knew everybody who stepped into the Capitol on January 6th within days. But they can't figure out something the size of a Chevy Suburban hanging 1,000 feet in the air.
They definitely know what these things are. There's no doubt. And they're spreading now. People are seeing them in other areas. So
this goes
supposedly.
Back to
I mean, that could all be red herrings too.
Well,
so
also, anytime you see something like this in the media, and this is coming from somebody who's psychological operations, you start. It's a magician's trick. They have you look in their right hand. Keep looking at my right hand, and it's the left hand that's doing the illusion. So whenever you see something like this take over the news, 30-minute newscast, they're talking 10 minutes about damn drones.
Yep.
And they're showing 50 different experts that all say the same thing. We don't know. I saw one news broadcast where they have a drone expert. I don't know how the hell you become a drone expert, but whatever. A drone expert saying these are definitely airplanes. These aren't drones. How do you know that? For all I know, it could be the Iranians. It'd be stupid it'd be so stupid for the Iranians. They are.
Well, China flew a blimp or whatever over the country.
That's fine, but the Iranians, they're a hair away from getting blown off the earth by the Israelis, and they're going to come over here and just mess with us by flying drones over? No.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Iranians. That would be strange.
To take what is a military asset that could be used over Israel, which is their threat right now. It's not the threat right now. It's not the U.S. And then to go fly over a military base or fly over an airport and really do nothing, or fly over a power plant and do nothing. Could it be a probing thing to see how we react? Maybe. But this idea that they cannot pick up the radio signals, that these must be automated. They're not. Anytime something gets close to them, they shut their lights off. But why would they have lights on to begin with? If you're doing a clandestine operation, why would you have lights on at all?
I don't know. Good question. Maybe we'll find out in the next couple of weeks.
Green lights on. Why in the hell would you? Why would you do that at all? I don't know what it's going to be, but I highly doubt it's Iran. Could be China. We do know that there was a guy flying a drone near a Space Force base in, I think it was California. It's where SpaceX shoots off spy rockets or spy things, and the guy, a Chinese national, was flying a drone in a no-fly zone, and they went and found him, and he tried to hide the drone, and he kind of said, yeah, it's not very smart. The other thing he was charged with was improper use of a drone. But that's, and again, I don't know what information they could possibly be getting by flying over, or flying, not even flying over, but flying near a SpaceX launch. I mean, all the secrets are inside the damn rocket. They broadcast the launches. What possible information are you getting from watching a rocket go up? We televise the rockets.
No clue.
It's the satellite that's inside that's the secret. So I don't know. It just doesn't sound like a spy operation. I mean, you're doing it at night. So what are you possibly? You're not picking up any pictures unless you're just pulling. You're not even getting traffic patterns. Maybe radio communication. Maybe see. There were people in New Jersey saying shoot them down. Like, you just said it was the size of an SUV. You want that flaming, dropping towards a populated area? That's stupid. Shoot it down. You tell me how big it is. Shoot it down. I mean, not to mention each one of those air-to-air missiles is like $600,000. And when the missile explodes, pieces of it come to the ground too. So it's just stupid. But do you really want a bunch of New Jersey residents outside going, "Yeah, shoot them down, man"? Like the Jersey Shore is out there with shotguns and AR-15s waiting for the drones to come over. This is a good time to remind you that these are our opinions and not those of anyone not on the show, any respective company for which we may work, own, or even or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories over at georgiavirtue.com, and I flubbed that one. Mule of the Week, Joe Biden for 1,500 commutations and more than 30 pardons in one day, including the cash
which was
for
the most
kids
all
judge.
time. Yeah. Yeah, and this was the most commutations ever in one day.
I think the only one that you can go back to is the pardon after Civil War.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest is pardoning everybody who took part on behalf of the Confederacy and all that stuff to begin healing.
Yep.
But it includes former judge, Luzerne County Judge Michael Cochran, or Conahan, convicted of funneling juveniles to for-profit detention facilities in exchange for $2.1 million in kickbacks. That was a little wild. He was sent home during COVID for house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And all he had to do was finish out his 15 years or whatever it is. But Biden went ahead and commuted his sentence. Yeah,
there was a couple of these strange ones. There was another Chinese spy that got, I don't know, but she got her sentence commuted. There was some weird people in here. It really was. But this guy was probably one of the worst ones to get it, besides his son.
He literally sold kids to private prisons.
Yep, and got, and Joe Biden, like, who was, my question on these kind of people is, who went to bat for him? Like, somebody had to go to bat for this guy to get this commutation. I mean, who was it?
I guarantee you somebody who bought one of Hunter's paintings.
It's just so strange that somebody would go to bat for this guy. I
story that experts predict the value of Hunter's paintings are going to plummet after January 20th. You think?
Yeah, that sounds like a Babylon Bee article.
No, I mean it was an actual article. Just, art experts agree that it's going to really. So spending $1 million on a poop painting isn't going to hold up when you don't get access to the president of the United States or vice president of the United States.
Hard to believe, ain't it?
That's unbelievable. Anybody looked at the art was like, that's you calling that art? He was blowing it with blowing paint with a straw. I mean, look, I've seen chimps do better painting. You give chimps finger paints, and those paintings sell for $100,000 because it was done by a chimp. Of course, these were done by a chimp too. So yeah, Joe Biden is the Mule of the Week, hopefully for the last time. Hopefully we don't need to.
Yeah, I think this will be
call
it.
his name ever again or Hunter's name ever again. I'm waiting for him to. I don't know if Fauci was included in this. I think Fauci is going to get pardoned on the way out.
Yeah, it seems like he may pardon some of the people that had a lot to do with the COVID. That was involved in COVID and stuff, and it sounds like he's going to be like these overarching pardons, like he did with his son going back to like 2014. So it sounds like there's going to be some sweeping pardons coming down. Yeah,
there are. I'd like one going forward against anything I made due to the IRS.
That would be nice.
Like you're pardoned for life for any tax problems. Like sweet. All right, so Georgia Republican lawmakers are talking about reining in school choice. So I guess they're not pro-choice.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about this bill last year because it barely passed the Georgia House. You've got, almost every Democrat. There was one Democrat that voted yes, Misha Maynor, and Misha she lost her primary or lost her general election back in November. But this bill, it was opposed. It got beat a couple of years ago. Then it came back up and it got through. A lot of rural representatives are not, rural Republican representatives are not for this law because they think it takes away funding from their local school systems. But the Georgia Education Savings Authority, which was a body created by the law, they said basically, so the interpretation by most of the representatives that voted for this is they thought it would only apply to individual schools. But the way that this authority is reading the legislation is it says if you're in the school system with a failing school, you're eligible to take advantage of one of these school vouchers. So instead, yeah. So like if you're an elementary school that feeds into a middle school that is a poor performing school, the way that the legislators thought is you wouldn't get to take advantage of these vouchers. But the way that this authority has interpreted the law says if you're in elementary school and you're moving up into a middle school, you can take advantage of it, which is great. I mean, that should be the case.
Well, it should be the case to get rid of all public schools and then have a voucher program and let people keep their own taxes and educate their own children. But that's why they call me crazy, because I think the government does everything poorly, with the exception of kill people and break things.
Yep. Yeah, so the voucher is supposed to be 22,000 vouchers total. It sounds like more than 400,000 students could apply now or have a chance to apply out of 1.75 million public school kids. So the way this interpretation went, basically 25% of the public school kids could apply for this voucher. So it's really opened it up. So what I found so ironic about this is now the Republicans in the state house are saying, we need to go back in and visit this. We didn't think it'd be so broad. We don't want this broad interpretation of law. So they're going to go back in now and really go back in and change the law.
Do you think
where it will not apply to as many kids?
Do you think they will? Do you really think that they got the votes to do that?
Oh, 100%. They're going to cut it. Yeah, I mean, they'll definitely vote to cut this back down.
So what happens if you
get
approved?
Because every Democrat's going to vote for it, and then this bill will fly through if they want
half
to.
The constituents start getting that voucher check.
Yeah, but they've only got so much budgeted for this. They can still only allow 22,000 kids to get this.
Well, how do you decide? Is it first in line?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're actually going to decide who gets it, but I think the point was that this has just opened it up to a lot more kids or students, and now they're going to go back in and make sure they clarify that we can all, which is the problem in the first place, is this whole law was virtue signaling. It wasn't really going out there, like you said, and giving parents the ability to take their funds and see, and take their kids wherever they want to go for school. This was just a virtue signaling bill. It was crafted where it was very narrowly tailored to just a small number of kids in Georgia, like 22,000 out of 1.75.
Don't live in households that can afford to make up the difference to go to a private school. But when you say counties with any failing school, you start talking about Cobb County. So Cobb County has lots of failing schools, and especially in the south side of the county. So if you're in East Cobb, and if the broad interpretation, I'm not making a generalization about East Cobb, but there is more money in East Cobb than there is in South Cobb. That would allow well-to-do parents to, help pay for private school. And private school is no joke to pay for. It's not like paying for college, especially if your kid gets accepted to Georgia Tech. But it does allow those parents to take a subsidy, which many people that are believe in means testing would think that these parents that are in high well off areas shouldn't be able to get that. Which
right.
I will kick back on that and say those are the people that are spending $15,000 a year in property taxes paying for other people's kids to go to school. So getting $2,000 back or whatever the hell they're going to get back doesn't even scratch the surface of what they pay to educate other people's kids. And I get a little salty about that just with my tax bill because I don't have any kids in school. And to look at Paulding County and see that we have failing schools, like, you have the money. What's your problem? So the public school system is, the whole idea of public schools to begin with was a community would get together and find a teacher, going back to one-room schoolhouses in the 1800s, in 1700s for that matter, is you wanted to make sure that kids by the time they were 10 or 12 years old had a basic grasp of reading, writing, arithmetic. And then they would go work on their farms or go to factories, whatever else. And the kids that excelled might go on and go to a college or something like that. It was a community getting together and funding based on their community, sending their kids to school. This bureaucracy where it's all the way from the feds on down, and they dangle money under the nose of these school districts going, oh, your test scores aren't good, we're going to take away your money. So we've destroyed education where by 10 or 12 years old, kids already had a working knowledge of Latin. They could read the Bible. They knew how to cipher. They knew histories, particularly the history of their state or territory, to now where you got 12-year-olds that are only taught to the test that have no ability to think outside the box or to work anything but their new math or whatever else. The Department of Education, first of all, we talked about it last week, should absolutely be eliminated at the federal level. Just take that out. Let school districts educate their kids. Take out the standardized testing as a means to get your funding. Get that. You want to fix education? Get that crap out and go back to the teachers that you and I had. That whatever once we all had the cool teacher that would kind of clear a spot on his or her desk and sit on the desk and go, you know what, let's talk about this. Let me get your opinion, especially history teachers and social studies teachers, stuff like that would engage with kids, but they don't have time to do that anymore. They have an hour and they have to cram as much in that hour that's going to be on the test, or they lose funding and they might lose their jobs. You want to fix education? That's how you do it. You get the government, as much government out of it as possible. That's how you fix it. Not handing out vouchers, which is, I have no problem with you be able to take your tax dollars and go wherever the hell you want with it. But the fact is most, like, I'm kind of working out in my head and kind of contradicting myself, is that, maybe in those Democrat districts that are a little more downtrodden, they're going to say, well, these vouchers are useless for me, so don't let everybody else have them, or give us more. Like any other entitlement, give me more.
Very true.
All right, Kenneth, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think I've said enough today.
Yeah, well, probably all week. I know you were in Fort Lauderdale this week.
No, it was nice.
I should have sent you. You should have told me. I know some restaurants down there. That's where I'm from. I'm from Coral Springs, which is right outside of Fort Lauderdale. That's home. All right, my closing thought is Delta shopping advice, especially when we talk about traveling a lot. Play with your dates if you can. Play with your locations. I was looking at using a companion ticket, which I have through a credit card that I have, and they have very selective dates for going where I want to go. So I look at it from Atlanta, and nothing's available. I put in Chattanooga. The Chattanooga airport is an hour and a half from where I live. ATL is an hour. I give myself an hour to get there. So it's a half-hour difference. The ticket is 2/3 the price coming out of Atlanta, and has the seats that I want available. Keep in mind, this is to go from Chattanooga. I have to fly from Chattanooga to Atlanta, connect to Atlanta to go where I'm going to connect somewhere else to go on. So adding a stop dropped the price by a third. Dropped the price by a third, and had the seats that I wanted that were blacked out flying direct from Atlanta. So if you're shopping for airfare, be willing to play with. If you live in the west side of Atlanta, look at Birmingham. You live in the northwest side, look at Chattanooga. If you're northeast side, look at, I don't know, maybe Charlotte, or if you're down in South Georgia, look at going out of Savannah. You're still going to do the same connection. You're still going to end up in Atlanta and have a connection, but you may save yourself $1,000 on a trip just by driving an extra 30 minutes. Unbelievable. So
I don't know why it works that way. It's amazing.
I've never understood why burning more of your fuel costs me less. So for Eric Cumby, our editor, for my partner in this endeavor, Ken Poland, I'm Dave Roberts. Have a great week. Go Army, beat Navy.
Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Pacing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.